This cannot be legal. Do you want to deal 1,000,000 damage in a giant AoE in front of you, which requires no ammunition and never has to reload? Do you want 99.5% damage reduction, meaning that an attack that would normally have dealt 100,000 damage is just gonna tickle you for 20 damage instead? Also, would you like to strip all armor and shields in a huge ring around you and fully recharge your shields into overshields while cleansing any debuff in a click of one button? Well, we got that too. I thought the last iteration of this build was crazy, but this is just wow. If you like what you see on screen, stick around and we will take you under the hood of this setup, which is comprised of Baruuk himself, the Epitaph, Praetos, Desert Winds, the Neraman Focus School, and, shocker, the Panzerwolperpfeiler. Let's take a look at this build in action. Make sure to have Desolate Hands active from the start, as each stagger grants 10% damage reduction up to 90%. You'll also disarm nearby enemies, reducing your restraint. Next up, we want to build Combo Counter to get that bonus critical chance from the Gladiator mod set. With our third evolution on the Praetos, slam attacks grant 400% Combo Counter, allowing us to immediately stack up that Combo Counter. And with our fifth evolution, picking up ammo will increase the Combo Counter with 5 without having the Praetos equipped, handy for never having to drop Serene Storm. Then LOL comes into play as our main tool for removing restraint, which so happens to be the main resource for Serene Storm, and this is where things get fun. Serene Storm allows us to deal out insane amounts of damage in front of you or perform a spin attack to do this. But what about armor? That pesky mechanic that makes builds feel really crappy after a while. What armor? Pillage is our subsume ability, which is consumed from Hildren. It is a pain to acquire, but any half-serious Tenno should own this, it is that good. Now, for some strange reason, Pillage doesn't state the ability strength to defense reduction ratio as all other abilities does. We will need 400% ability strength, which this ability has without breaking, somehow. What if we need even more damage? Well, we can either pull out the Kuva new core for that instant stack of 10 viral, that is 340% more damage against enemies' health, and if we want to deal even more damage, we can lift enemies with our first Oberate ability and then quickly spray them for even more damage. We don't have to kill anything, just hit it. I can sense you guys getting impatient. Your fingertips are tingling, itching to get started on your own. Allow us to show you how. Let's begin with Baruuk himself, and welcome back to those who skipped ahead. I do however encourage you to watch the build section in full, as it is rather easy to mess this build up. First up, we have Archon Shards. You will need 4 ability strength shards, or 3 of them where one of them is Tau Foods. The rest should be ability duration, as Pillage's range is actually largely determined by duration. Another 60% ability strength is gained through mode augmented. So, you might be wondering, why not use Umbra Fiber? Because we couldn't fit it anywhere. Removing any of these mods and the build straight up comes apart. In case you were wondering, Reactive Storm is giving you a ton of status chance and causing you to always attack with the element that the target is weak to. And don't worry, this build is not a support build. We are running melee guidance to get around the extremely annoying way that the Gladiator mod set works. You see, there are 2 combo counters in play, the Praetos and Desert Hands. The game will use the combo counter of the weapon equipped unless that weapon has 0 combo counter and the other one doesn't. This is also why we cannot use primary or secondary dexterity, as this would break the build, however counterintuitive that might be. Phew, let's move on to something simpler. Desert Hands is just a melee weapon, except of course it's not. The burst of energy does, for some unknown reason, not trigger condition overload. It does however trigger Berserker Fury. And here is a standard primer build for the Kuva new core. Moving on quickly to the Praetos. The must-have mods here is the Gladiator Might, Gladiator Vice, and Gladiator Rush. Primed Reeds and Spring-Loaded Blade are nice for some extra range on those slam attacks and quickening because, well, of course. Now, importantly, body count, unlike primary and secondary dexterity, only affect the weapon it is on, meaning that we can maintain a nice 17-second combo duration on our stat stick. finally, we have our focus school, Naramon. And for once, we will not simply be using a single node, but rather the entire tree. Of course, power spike is needed to make this build work, causing the combo counter to decay by 5 instead of 120. Opening slam is great for that initial combo rush. Fastling helps with movement. Sling stun can take care of particularly difficult enemies if that ever comes up. And using Killer's Rush will make it easy to maintain red crit afterwards. Lifting enemies with Void Levitation and quickly spraying them with Lethal Levitation will give us 200% base damage, which is more than we get from Desert Hands itself. The Affinity Spike makes it easier to level this build. Also, we like to use these Operator Arcanes, but that is just preference. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Warframe broadcast. You made it thus far. So, you'll probably also enjoy this build. That's the wrong side, but we'll put it here. If you ever have to support your team. And before you spam us into the ground, no, Blood Rush does not work as it's buffing the specific weapon it is on, that being the Praetos and not Desert Hands. Okay? Combo counter on Praetos, Blood Rush on weapon doesn't stack. Okay? Thank you very much. And also, consider subscribing. Helps out the channel, helps out me, and helps you to never miss another video. Another broadcast. I'm better on script. Anyways, so yeah, consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.